I stared at my phone in disbelief, a text message from Amanda illuminating the screen after a year of silence. My heart raced, memories flooding back of her betrayal with my colleague and how she stripped me of almost everything in our divorce. What could she possibly want now? She was asking to meet, demanding something that made my blood boil. The audacity after everything she put me through. If you are watching this right now, let me know where you are tuning in from. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have ever dealt with someone trying to come back into your life after they burned everything to the ground. Trust me, what happened next in this story might give you some ideas about handling your own difficult situations. I first met Amanda 5 years ago at Harrison & Brooks, the law firm where I was building my career as an attorney. She walked into the office as the new administrative assistant, turning heads with her confident stride and warm smile. There was something magnetic about her presence, the way she carried herself with such poise yet approachability. "You must be King," she said, extending her hand during our introduction. Her hazel eyes locked with mine and I felt an immediate connection. "Yes, that is me." "Welcome to the firm," I replied, trying to maintain professionalism despite the instant attraction. Amanda was not just physically attractive with her auburn hair and slender frame, but her intelligence and ambition shone through in every conversation. She had moved from Seattle to pursue bigger opportunities, and her determination to climb the corporate ladder was something I deeply respected. Our professional relationship quickly evolved into coffee breaks, which turned into lunch dates, and eventually dinner at my favorite Italian restaurant downtown. 3 months after she started working at the firm, I asked her to be my girlfriend officially. "I have been waiting for you to ask," she said with a smile that melted my heart. Our relationship progressed rapidly. We shared similar values, or so I thought, and complemented each other perfectly. I was the careful planner, she was spontaneous. I was reserved in social settings, she brought me out of my shell. After 14 months of dating during a weekend trip to Lake Tahoe, I proposed under a star-filled sky. "Amanda, you have changed my life in ways I never imagined possible. Would you do me the honor of becoming my wife?" I asked, heart-pounding, as I knelt before her with a diamond ring that had cost me 3 months of savings. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "Yes, absolutely, yes." Our wedding 6 months later was everything we had dreamed of. 100 guests witnessed our union at a charming vineyard outside the city. Amanda looked breathtaking in her lace gown, and the way she looked at me as we exchanged vows made me believe our love would last forever. The early days of our marriage were blissful. We purchased a beautiful 3-bedroom home in a desirable neighborhood, anticipating the family we would eventually start. We merged our finances, created a joint investment portfolio, and spent evenings discussing our future children's names and education plans. My career at Harrison & Brooks was flourishing. Senior partners began to notice my dedication and case success rate. When I was assigned to the Henderson corporate merger, one of the biggest cases the firm had handled that year, I knew it was my opportunity to prove myself worthy of partnership consideration. "This is it, baby," I told Amanda excitedly. "If I nail this case, I could be looking at a junior partner position within 2 years instead of 5. She hugged me tightly, seemingly proud. "I know you will crush it." The case demanded long hours. I would leave home before dawn and return well after dinner time. Weekends became extensions of the work week. I was exhausted but driven by the promise of providing an even better life for us. It was around the 3rd month of this intense work period when I began noticing subtle changes in Amanda. She became increasingly distant. Her usual affectionate texts throughout the day became rare. When I would arrive home late, instead of finding her waiting up as she used to, she was often asleep or worse, not home at all. Working late with the girls, her texts would explain when I asked about her whereabouts. Physical intimacy dwindled until it became almost non-existent. When I would reach for her at night, she would murmur about being tired or not feeling well. The warning signs were there, but I was too consumed with work and too trusting to see them clearly. Determined to reconnect, I made reservations at Castello, the upscale restaurant where we had celebrated our first anniversary. I arranged for roses to be delivered to her at work and left early that day to prepare for our special evening. "I miss you," I told her over candlelight. "I know I have been busy, but this case will not last forever. Once it is over, we can take that trip to Europe we have been talking about." Amanda smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. "That sounds nice," she replied, but her tone lacked enthusiasm. Later that week, while using her phone to order takeout when mine had died, a text notification appeared from someone saved as Jay, with a message that read, "Miss you already. Yesterday was amazing." When confronted, Amanda dismissed it casually. "That is just Jackson from accounting. We had a productive meeting about the new expense reporting system yesterday." I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. So I pushed down the knot in my stomach and convinced myself it was innocent. After all, we were King and Amanda, the couple everyone else wanted to be. We were solid, unbreakable. How wrong I was. Our 3-year wedding anniversary was approaching, and despite the growing distance between us, I was determined to rekindle the flame. I cleared my schedule for the afternoon, left work early, and stopped to pick up her favorite champagne and a bracelet I had custom designed with our wedding date engraved inside. The house was quiet when I entered, but I heard muffled sounds coming from upstairs. Setting down my gifts on the kitchen counter, I made my way toward our bedroom, planning to surprise Amanda if she had arrived home early too. The bedroom door was partially open. Through the crack, I saw clothing scattered across the floor, including a tie I recognized immediately, not as mine, but as one I had complimented Jackson on just last week. My body went cold as I pushed the door open fully. There they were, my wife and my colleague, in our bed. Our marriage bed. "King!" Amanda gasped, scrambling to cover herself. Jackson jumped up, fumbling for his clothes, his face a mixture of shock and guilt. I stood frozen, unable to process the scene before me. The betrayal was not just from my wife, but from someone I had mentored at the firm, someone I had invited to our home for dinner parties. How long, I managed to ask, my voice sounding foreign to my own ears. Neither answered immediately. "How long?" I demanded, louder this time. 8 months. Amanda finally admitted, her voice small but without the remorse I would have expected. 8 months. Nearly a third of our marriage. While I had been working tirelessly to build our future, they had been destroying our present. "King, you are never home." Amanda began, her tone shifting from caught-in-the-act panic to accusatory defense. "You care more about becoming partner than being a husband. What did you expect would happen?" Her words sliced through me like a knife. She was blaming me for her infidelity, for her choice to betray our vows. "Get out," I said to Jackson, who was now partially dressed. "Get out before I do something we will both regret." He slipped past me without making eye contact, mumbling what sounded like an apology that meant nothing. Once he was gone, Amanda attempted to approach me. "We need to talk about this rationally," she said, as if what I had witnessed was a minor disagreement rather than the decimation of our marriage. "There is nothing to talk about," I replied, grabbing an overnight bag from our closet. I stuffed in some clothes, my toiletries, and my laptop. "I will be back tomorrow, when you are at work, to get more of my things." That night, in a sterile hotel room, I called the only person I could think of, my best friend since college, Michael. "She cheated on me, Mike. With Jackson from work. In our bed. Jesus King. I am coming over. Do not move." Michael arrived 30 minutes later with a bottle of whiskey and the steadfast support I desperately needed. He listened as I poured out my pain occasionally, offering advice but mostly just being present. "You need a good lawyer," he eventually said. "Amanda is cunning. She will try to take you for everything you have." I dismissed his concern. "We have a prenup. Plus, she is the one who cheated. No judge would side with her." Michael looked unconvinced. "Just promise me you will protect yourself." I should have heeded his warning more seriously. 2 days later, I received divorce papers. Amanda had retained Gregory Wilson, one of the most aggressive divorce attorneys in the state. I was blindsided by the speed with which she had acted, but still believed justice would prevail. My first inkling that something was deeply wrong came when I could not access our joint savings account. Calling the bank revealed that Amanda had withdrawn nearly all of our shared savings, $80,000, 3 days before I discovered the affair. She had been planning this. Further investigation showed that she had been gathering our financial documents and copying them for months. She had methodically prepared for this moment while sharing a bed with me and planning our future together. During our first mediation session, Amanda dropped the bomb that would destroy my professional reputation along with my marriage. "If you do not agree to my terms," she said coldly across the table, "I will go public with allegations of inappropriate behavior toward female colleagues. Jackson will back me up." It was a lie, a complete fabrication, but it was my word against theirs. In the current climate, even an allegation without proof could destroy everything I had worked for. My lawyer advised me that fighting would be long, expensive, and potentially career-ending regardless of the truth. I felt trapped, cornered by the woman I had once trusted with my life. The final divorce decree was devastating. Amanda received our house 70% of our savings, and alimony amounting to 25% of my monthly income for the next 3 years. The prenup was invalidated on a technicality her legal team had discovered. The professional consequences were equally severe. Rumors spread throughout Harrison and Brooks, despite my attempts to keep the divorce details private. Partners who had once mentored me now avoided eye contact in hallways. 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized, I was called into the managing partner's office. "This is not working out, King," he said without preamble. "The Henderson clients have requested another attorney, and 3 other corporate clients have expressed concerns about continuing with you as their representation." I was given a severance package and asked to clear out my office by the end of the day. 5 years of dedication erased in a 15-minute conversation. That night, sitting in my sparsely furnished 1-bedroom apartment in a part of town I would have never chosen to live in, I hit rock bottom. I had lost my wife, my home, my savings, and my job. At 32, I was starting over with nothing but debt and broken trust. The months following my divorce and career implosion were the darkest of my life. I spent weeks barely functioning, sleeping at odd hours, and ignoring calls from everyone, except Michael, who refused to let me disappear completely. "You need to get back out there," he insisted during one of his unannounced visits, where he practically forced me to shower and eat a proper meal. I talked to Sarah at Goldstein & Meyer. "They need someone with your expertise for their corporate division." Goldstein & Meyer was a smaller firm, less prestigious than Harrison and Brooks, but it was an opportunity. With Michael's persistent encouragement, I pulled myself together enough to attend an interview. "We cannot match your previous salary," Frank Goldstein told me candidly, "but we can offer you a fresh start and the chance to rebuild." I accepted immediately. The pay cut was substantial, but I needed to work not just for financial reasons, but to reclaim my identity beyond being Amanda's ex-husband or the attorney who lost everything. My new apartment was half the size of our marital home, situated in an aging building with temperamental plumbing and neighbors who seemed allergic to quiet. But it was mine, free from memories of betrayal. Each rent payment, while stretching my reduced income, felt like an investment in independence. I threw myself into work with renewed determination, arriving earlier and staying later than anyone else. I took continuing education courses to expand my expertise and volunteered for cases no one else wanted. Slowly, my colleagues began to respect my contributions, and clients started requesting me specifically. 6 months into my new position, Frank called me into his office. I expected a routine case discussion, but instead, he presented me with an opportunity that would change everything. "Westridge Technologies is being sued by a former employee for patent infringement," he explained, sliding a thick folder across his desk. "It is complex, high stakes, and frankly, everyone else is swamped or intimidated by going against Barnett and Associates." Barnett and Associates was a legal powerhouse with virtually unlimited resources and a reputation for crushing opposing counsel. Taking on this case was risky, but I recognized it as the opportunity I needed. "I will take it," I said without hesitation. For the next 3 months, I lived and breathed the Westridge case. My apartment transformed into a war room of documents, legal precedents, and technical specifications. I slept on my couch most nights, too tired to make it to the bedroom after 14-hour workdays. The breakthrough came at 2:00 a.m. on a Tuesday, when I discovered inconsistencies in the plaintiff's documentation. Further investigation revealed that the supposedly stolen patent had actually been abandoned years before Westridge developed their technology. The plaintiff had doctored dates on key documents. When I presented this evidence in court, the judge dismissed the case and referred the plaintiff and his legal team to the Bar Association for ethics violations. Westridge was ecstatic, and Goldstein & Meyer received press coverage highlighting our David versus Goliath victory. The aftermath was swift and positive. I was promoted to senior associate with a substantial raise and bonus. New clients flocked to the firm asking specifically for me. For the first time since the divorce, I felt financially stable enough to move to a better apartment in a nicer neighborhood. Around this time, I also began to notice Lisa, a fellow attorney who had joined the firm shortly after me. Unlike Amanda, Lisa was genuinely kind, without hidden agendas or manipulative tendencies. Our friendship developed organically through shared cases and lunch breaks, discussing everything from legal strategies to our mutual love of obscure documentaries. You should ask her out, Michael encouraged during one of our regular dinner meetups. It has been over a year since the divorce. You are allowed to move on. After weeks of deliberation, I finally invited Lisa to dinner at a small Ethiopian restaurant I had discovered. To my surprise and delight, she accepted immediately. I have been wondering when you would ask, she admitted with a smile that reminded me happiness was still possible. Our relationship progressed slowly, built on mutual respect and transparent communication. I was hesitant to fully open up, but Lisa was patient, never pushing me beyond my comfort level. It was around this time that news about Amanda reached me through mutual acquaintances. Her relationship with Jackson had imploded spectacularly just 3 months after our divorce. Apparently, he had moved on to another married woman at the firm, leaving Amanda alone in the house that had once been ours. I felt no satisfaction in her misfortune, just a dull acknowledgement that karma sometimes does its job without our intervention. Then came the text that would bring everything full circle. King, I need to talk to you, please. It is important. Can we meet Amanda? After a year of silence, seeing her name on my phone was jarring. My first instinct was to ignore it, but curiosity won out. What could be so important after all this time? I agreed to meet at a coffee shop downtown, a public place where our conversation would remain civil by necessity. Lisa knew about the meeting and supported my decision to go. Sometimes closure comes in unexpected ways, she said, squeezing my hand. Just remember who you are now, not who you were then. Amanda was already seated when I arrived, nursing what looked like her third cup of coffee based on the empty cups pushed to the side. She looked different, diminished somehow. Her designer clothes had been replaced with generic retail wear, her perfectly maintained hair now showing dark roots through the fading auburn. Thank you for coming, she said, her voice lacking the confidence I remembered. You look good. Really good. What do you want, Amanda? I asked, not unkindly but without the warmth I would have shown a year ago. She fidgeted with her cup. I heard about your case. The Westridge one. It was in the legal newsletter. Congratulations. Thank you. But I doubt you wanted to meet to discuss my career. She took a deep breath. I am in trouble, King. After Jackson and I split up, he took most of the money we had. Then I lost my job at Harrison & Brooks when they downsized the administrative staff. I listened without interrupting, noting the irony that she had lost her job at the same firm where she had helped destroy mine. I have been struggling to find work. The house is in foreclosure. I have nothing left, she continued, tears forming in her eyes. Then I saw the news about your case and the bonus you received. Here it was the real reason for this reunion. I want half of your Westridge bonus, she stated, trying to sound confident. We were still married when you started at Goldstein & Meyer. Under community property laws, I am entitled to a portion of what you earned during that period. I stared at her momentarily, speechless. After everything, after the affair, the lies, taking our home, nearly destroying my career, she was back asking for more. The case came to me 6 months after our divorce was finalized. I finally responded. The bonus was awarded based on work done entirely post-divorce. But your position at the firm, the foundation for getting that case happened while we were still married, she countered. My lawyer says I have a case. Of course, she had already consulted a lawyer. Some things never changed. As I sat across from Amanda in that coffee shop, a strange calm washed over me. A year ago, her demand would have sent me spiraling into anger and hurt. Now I felt only clarity. Your lawyer is wrong, I said evenly. But even if there was legal merit, which there is not, have you considered what you are asking? After everything, Amanda's expression hardened the vulnerable facade, slipping to reveal the calculating woman I had failed to recognize during our marriage. I deserve compensation for the years I invested in you, she insisted. If you refuse to be reasonable, I still have evidence of your inappropriate behavior at Harrison & Brooks. That story could damage your new reputation just as easily as your old one. There it was again, the same threat, the same lie. But this time I was prepared. Reaching into my briefcase, I removed a manila folder and placed it on the table between us. Before you continue down this path, you should know what I have here. I opened the folder, revealing copies of emails between Amanda and her divorce attorney, Gregory Wilson. Emails that clearly documented their strategy to fabricate misconduct allegations if I fought the divorce terms. How did you get these? She whispered, color draining from her face. Michael works in IT security now, I explained calmly. When you began making threats during our divorce, he helped me recover deleted emails from our home computer, the one you used to communicate with Wilson before you got more careful. I showed her more documents, including bank statements proving she had been siphoning money from our joint accounts months before the affair was revealed. There is also testimony from Diane at Harrison and Brooks, who overheard you and Jackson planning how to maximize what you could get from the divorce. She was too afraid of retaliation to come forward then, but she is not anymore. Amanda's hands trembled as she tried to close the folder. You would not use these. It would mean dragging yourself back through a legal battle reopening old wounds. You are right, I agreed, surprising her. I do not want to sue you or expose you. I have moved on. This folder is not a threat, Amanda. It is protection. If you pursue any claims against me or attempt to spread rumors about my professional conduct, these documents will be submitted to the Bar Association and potentially to prosecutors for extortion charges. You are bluffing, she said, but her voice lacked conviction. I am not the same man you left broken a year ago, I told her. I do not want revenge. I just want peace, and for you to understand that you cannot take anything more from me. Tears filled her eyes, but this time they seemed genuine. I really am broke king. The house is being foreclosed next month. I have nowhere to go. For a moment, I felt a flicker of sympathy. Despite everything we had shared years together had once planned a future. I cannot give you money, I said firmly, but I can give you the name of a career counselor who helped me when I was rebuilding. She works pro bono for people in financial hardship. I wrote down the contact information on a napkin and slid it across the table. This is all I can offer you now. Amanda stared at the napkin, then back at me. I am sorry, she whispered. For everything. I thought Jackson and I would last. I thought the money would make me happy. I was so wrong, and I destroyed us both in the process. Not both of us, I corrected gently. I am doing well now. Better than before, actually. Is there any chance we could? She began. I shook my head. No, Amanda. That door is closed permanently. I am with someone who respects me, who I can trust completely. Lisa, she nodded. I heard about her. She sounds nice. She is, I confirmed. But more importantly, our relationship is built on honesty, something ours never truly had. Amanda wiped her eyes. Do you think you will ever forgive me? The question caught me off guard, making me reflect on my journey over the past year. I already have, I realized aloud, not because you deserve forgiveness, but because I deserve freedom. Holding on to anger was only hurting me, not you. As I stood to leave, I felt lighter than I had in years, unburdened by the last vestiges of resentment I had been carrying. I wish you well, Amanda. I genuinely hope you find your way. 3 months later, I received a brief email from Amanda. She had found a job as an office manager at a small accounting firm and was renting a modest apartment. The house had been sold at foreclosure, but she was slowly rebuilding her life. She thanked me for the career counselor referral and promised never to contact me again unless I reached out first. I showed the email to Lisa as we prepared dinner in my new apartment, a spacious 2-bedroom with a view of the park. How do you feel about it? Lisa asked, her concern evident. At peace, I replied honestly. I hope she finds happiness eventually. Everyone deserves a second chance at life, even if it is not with the same people they hurt. Lisa smiled, wrapping her arms around me. That is why I love you. Your capacity for growth and forgiveness is remarkable. It was the first time either of us had used the word love, and it felt right. That weekend, I ran into Amanda unexpectedly at a local farmer's market. She was with an older woman who appeared to be her mother. Our eyes met briefly across the crowded aisle. She gave a small, respectful nod, which I returned. No words were needed. We had both moved on. Looking back now, I realized that losing everything I thought I wanted ultimately led me to everything I truly needed. The betrayal that once seemed like the end of my world became the catalyst for building a more authentic life. Sometimes our deepest wounds do not just leave scars. They create space for something new to grow, something far better than what we thought we wanted. My journey from betrayal to rebuilding taught me that true strength comes not from avoiding pain but from transforming it into wisdom. Have you ever had someone from your past try to come back after they hurt you? How did you handle it? Let me know in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like and subscribe for more real-life experiences. Share it with someone who might be going through a similar situation and needs to hear that better days are ahead. Thank you for listening to my story. And remember, sometimes losing what you thought you wanted is the best path to finding what you truly need.